Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
Todd.
I'll love it. Todd, I'll love it.
Todd and Craig, good to hear you guys.
Todd, I'll love it.
This is Attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Honestly, you could not be any more spot on.
Now, from the Black Diamond Group mothership in the studios of 98.5 UPS, the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, Attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting in the Black Diamond Group mothership back from the moon in a beautiful green nutrient field in the middle of the mitten with my good friend, Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle, America's favorite nug, the dankiest, dank human I know, and the gassiest human I know, which, by the way, folks, if you don't know what I'm referring to when I say the gassiest human I know, it has to do with cannabis marijuana lingo. The water is wet, the sky is blue. We're here in studio with Chunky Monkey Craig Russell, and we love you. How you doing, Craig?
I am fan-flippin-tastic, Todd. How are you?
You know, I could not be better. And by the way, Chunky Monkey, the strain of the millennia right now. So big shout out to all the Chunky Monkey connoisseurs.
I've been called a Chunky Monkey before. So, you know, you'll have that.
Chunky Monkey.
You'll have that.
So how you doing, Craig?
Well, you know, it's been a kind of a topsy-turvy week. You know, the weather's been all over the place, which has been kind of weird. And then I found out a couple of days ago, my dad, who lives in Arizona, passed away. He had been kind of sick for a while, and he had a stroke about a year ago, and he had went back into the hospital to have a pacemaker put in, had some stuff going on, and well, then he things started shutting down, and he made it to 80. I mean, it is kind of strange because now I'm an only child, and so both my parents have passed, so I'm now kind of alone, which is weird, even though, you know, I've been alone for a long time, but I've got my kids and stuff like that, but it's still strange. But he was a good guy, and you know, his partner called me and said that he had passed in the night, and he was taking it pretty hard, and I wasn't particularly close to my dad, but, you know, he's still my dad, you know, and again, I was an only child, so, but again, you know, he's probably in a better place now where he's not hurting and stuff, and so that was an interesting week.
Mr. Russell, great man, and, you know, our love.
He was an auto worker.
Lots of prayers.
Auto worker.
You.
Yep.
And, you know,
thank you.
He's a great man. We dedicate the show in his memory, and everyone else out there who has lost someone recently. It's just, you know, it's, as we get older, you know, I'm 59. Well, I will be 59, and you are about 102, right, Craig?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. it's, life is life, and
It's
peaks
fleeting.
and valleys,
It's fleeting.
but as you get older and you start to lose so many people your age, your relatives, it really puts your own mortality in perspective.
It does. It's very
A lot
true.
of people out there
Very
fighting
true.
addiction, depression, disease, health issues. And so, we try each Sunday. People often say to me, "Hey, Todd, I tuned into you and Craig for the first time. I thought you were a law show, but then as I listened more and more, you really uplifted my spirits. I needed that. I needed that energy, that enthusiasm, because daily we all have to wake up and we grind it out. We just grind it out.
Yep.
And
Get through the day.
Every day is different. We never know. We hope when we wake up that we're gonna be the best versions of who we can be, and that's what we try to do, right, folks? Right, Craig? We wake up every day. We try to be the best versions of who we can be. But again, every day you wake up, you may not have the same mood. You physically, psychologically, so mentally, physically, you may not feel all there, but you still have to put your game face on. You have to go out there. You have to fight, support your family, the kids, those that love you, those that you love. You've just got to grind it out every day. So, once a week we do the show, and we talk about law. We have a little bit of law to get to today, but we also try to entertain, motivate, energize, and just give people hope. Right, Craig?
It's law with a touch of inspiration. How about that?
You are a very motivating, enthusiastic individual, and people tell me I am similar to that, and that when you walk in a room, you can feel the energy. So we just try to provide the listeners with some of that love and respect. We love and respect everybody out there.
Trust me, Todd, when you walk into a room, everyone knows. I'm just telling you.
Because I have a sign that says, "Hello, my name is Todd," like a name tag. Okay. In fact, Craig, that brings up another point.
Okay.
When we opened up the show with Kicks, great song. That goes out to Jen. Hello, Jen, somewhere around the house. That was her request. And we growing up in the 80s, there's just something special about it. Before social media, cell phones, we talk about this almost weekly. There was just something really special about, hey, wow, we finally got a microwave. Or what's cable? Cable's coming, MTV. Yep. You had to come in when the street light went on, or your mom called you in, even though we never did. You played kickball, soccer. We used to play baseball with tennis rackets and tennis balls.
Yep.
And it really sucked because if you could just whack that ball so far. So there was nothing fun to that. So,
we played.
It was fun, but if I was going to play street baseball, I'd prefer to do it with a wiffle ball and a wiffle bat.
Yeah, we used to play wiffle ball in the backyard, and we broke a bunch of windows and stuff, and but it was worth it because it was fun. That was the time, though. Kids don't do that stuff anymore. I don't think kids play baseball in the backyard or in the street or anything like that anymore, do they?
Not that I'm aware of. They don't even slow dance anymore.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
But so we played Kicks. What did you really want to open the show with?
So Kicks goes out to all the 80s, all the generation of us 80s that lived through the 80s as teenagers and into college as I did. I got to Central in 84, 89. I really wanted to open up the show with Steely Dan. I don't know what happened. I got on a Steely Dan kick last week.
Steely Dan was some fusion jazz from the 70s and 80s. They were kind of laid back, had a kind of a groove to them. And this was the song you wanted to open with, Dirty Work, right?
You got it.
Times are hard, you're afraid to pay the fee, so you find yourself somebody who can do the job for free. When you need a bit of loving, 'cause your man is out of town, that's the time you get me running, and I'll be around. I'm a fool to do your dirty work, oh yeah. I don't wanna do your dirty work no more. I'm a fool to do your dirty work, oh yeah.
Man, I always forget about Dirty Work. Because I hear, Peg and by Steely Dan and FM and all the other ones, but that one wasn't really one of their big, huge hits, but still a really good song, and I forget about that song from time to time.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge Steely Dan fan, but I am going to see Tesla. Motley Crue is coming to Mid-Michigan at the casino, Soaring Eagle Casino and Hotel. Yeah, Motley Crue. So we're definitely going to play some Motley Crue, but being that it is March and we are playing some hair band music, I think we need to call someone and wish them happy birthday.
Okay.
Oh.
Hey, Lori, happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. It's in a few days.
Yeah, I just, Craig and I are doing the show, and we said, we just got to call Lori up and wish her happy birthday.
Hi, Lori.
Yeah, Craig says hi, Lori. How you doing?
Hi, Craig. How you doing?
I miss you, Lori.
Yeah, Lori, Craig misses you, and I know you miss Craig, right?
I missed him so much. I think he cracks me up. I think he's got a great personality, and he's funny as hell.
Yeah, you can write his profile for a dating site. So you
there we
can
go.
Definitely do that for him. But it's Lori's birthday, so happy birthday, Lori. We opened up with Kicks, big group from the 80s. And Craig, Lori literally has seen every hair band in the 80s that they all appeared at Harpo's, the Ritz. I mean, she traveled the country in her leathers and fake wigs and back in the day.
Todd.
What?
Hey now.
Hey now.
Don't forget the biggie. I met Don Dockin.
Oh, yeah, she's a big fan of Don Dockin. All right, Lori, well, listen, we got to get going. We're doing a show. People want to hear some law. We just want to call and wish you happy birthday. So happy birthday to you. And we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay, thanks, you guys. Have a good one.
All right.
Happy birthday, Lori. There you go. That's Todd's sister's Lori.
One of my siblings, other than my big bro, Biker Bob, and many others. So, Craig, but there's yet a third song that we wanted to play.
Yeah, you really. Now, this song has been redone by Limp Bizkit, and I thought it was a pretty good version of it, but the original is still the best.
The Who is one of my all-time favorite groups that transitioned from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s. And I believe Roger Daltrey, he's still going strong, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so's Pete Townsend. Yeah, they're all still around. One of the few bands from that era that is still, everyone's still alive and still kicking.
Weren't they at Woodstock?
I don't think so.
I'm going to say
I don't think so.
Yes.
I'll have to look that up. I'll have to check. I'll check during the break.
Wasn't Woodstock in 1969?
Correct. 1969.
I don't think you were born yet.
I was not born yet. I was born in the winter. So, but anyway, Behind Blue Eyes. Yes. What do you want to have this take us to break?
Take us out, smoking and toking with some Chunky Monkey. When we come back, folks, we got some law to get to.
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man behind blue eyes. No one knows what it's like to be hated, to be faded, to telling only lies. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be. I have hours only lonely. My love is vengeance that's never free. No one knows what it's like to feel these feelings like I do. And I blame you. No one bites back as hard on their anger. None of my pain and woe can show through. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be. I have hours only lonely. My love is vengeance that's never free.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt here to tell you about my favorite one and only, the only one I go to, M66 Cannabis Company, recreational dispensary right here in the great state of Michigan, central northern Michigan, located at 3023 20 Mile Road, Beaverton, Michigan, between Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant, Michigan. M66 Cannabis Company is frickin' fantastic, folks, from pipes to edibles to flower, 24 different strains. The staff, all locally hired, general manager, knowledgeable, community-oriented, family-owned. Be sure to check out M66 Cannabis Company, Beaverton, Michigan.
Hey, this is Mike Messina, general manager at M66 Cannabis Company out of Barrington, Michigan, off of M66. And I want to personally invite you down to M66 Cannabis Company to come peruse our wide selection of different products, 18 different strains of flower, 29 different types of cartridges, and so much more. We've got everything that you could possibly need and a very well-trained and compassionate staff there to help you find exactly what you're looking for.
That's M66 Cannabis Company, located at 3023 20 Mile Road. That's 3023 20 Mile Road. My favorite recreational dispensary here in Michigan. Be sure to stop in and tell the folks when you get there you heard it right here on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Why'd you call me on the phone? Your mama can't solve your problem. When's daddy ever get home? So you did your little blues and cry.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, turning it and burning it, smoking it and toking it with my good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. Thoughts and prayers, Craig, go out to you for the passing of your dear father.
Thank you very much. Thank you. By the way,
we love you, Craig, and you will always be
that.
family.
Love you too, brother.
Love you, brother.
Hey, so I did a little research. The Who, did they play at Woodstock or not? You said yes.
Yes.
I said no. You are right, Todd. Who played at Woodstock? 5 a.m. Sunday morning, they played the rock opera Tommy at Woodstock. So, yes, they did play at Woodstock. Good job.
I love The Who.
Behind Blue Eyes, also redone by Limp Bizkit. Really did a good version done by Limp Bizkit.
Great job.
They did a good job. So, we've got some law to get to. We did say happy birthday to your sister, Lori. Was there anybody else we had to say happy birthday to, or do you have any shout-outs for anybody else?
No, I mean, you know what? Mike. Shout out to Mike. That's all.
Okay.
There's a gazillion Mikes that listen to the show,
Sure.
but he knows who he is, and he's a great guy. I was talking to him last week, just ran into him. He says, Todd, I love listening to you and Craig. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give you a shout out. So this goes out to all the Mikes out there. There you
Right
go.
on. All right.
My voice is hoarse, by the way.
Yeah, you do sound a little hoarse. What's going on with
I'm
that?
not sick. It's just if you spent an entire day with me, Craig, which you have spent pretty much throughout our friendship, hours and hours with me.
Sure.
The amount of oxygen that I intake and exhale and talk and the amount of words that come out on a regular basis is astronomical. I'm just saying. I mean, when I go to the grocery store, I have to talk to every old lady. I have to help them out, take their groceries. I'm tall because I'm 6 feet tall. I mean, I talk a lot during the day. So, it's the weekend, so my throat's a little horsey. By the way, Richard Lewis, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm and all those great comedians that started in the late 70s. We lost Richard Lewis last week also. And I love Curb, man. Larry David's a genius.
Yeah, no, he is, and he, and Richard Lewis got introduced to a whole new generation on that show because he was mostly a 70s and 80s comedian. He's on Johnny Carson a lot and stuff.
Letterman.
Can I tell you a little fun fact about Richard Lewis?
Yeah, and then we got to get to some law.
Okay, here's a fun fact.
Okay.
In the Billy Joel song "My Life," where he talks about went to the West Coast, now he's doing a stand-up routine in L.A., that's about Richard Lewis. Did you know that?
No idea. No idea.
You know the song. If you heard the song, you would know the line. Remember, here, I'm going to play it right here. Listen, this is the part.
Okay. Got a call from an old friend, we used to be real close. Said he couldn't go on the American way. Closed the shop, sold a house, bought a ticket to the West.
That part is about Richard Lewis.
I heard that a gazillion times.
Yeah, exactly. You never knew that.
that.
Yep, I know.
Never knew that.
Yep. So let's get to some law. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so here's the question for you.
Okay.
Honking a horn.
Beep beep.
You're honking your horn.
Okay.
Would the United States Supreme Court see that as free speech, or would they agree with a lower court ruling in a state on the West Coast that honking a horn serves a singular purpose to warn other drivers of some type of issue that has to do with a motor vehicle on a public roadway? So that's the question I'm asking you in the audience. Is it free speech, or is it not free speech and it serves a singular unilateral purpose?
I think me personally, I think it falls in the middle of that because I don't really see it as being free speech, but I also don't necessarily see honking your horn only having one singular purpose. Think about all the bumper stickers, it says, honk if you love Jesus or any of those kind of things. And I think that's an way of expressing, but it might not necessarily be covered under free speech, but I also don't think it only has a singular purpose.
A lady out west, California, was ticketed for honking her horn at a political rally. She was ticketed, given a citation. And the law out west is, as it is in about 40 other states, that honking a horn is not an expression of speech, and so therefore the Supreme Court agreed with the lower courts and said, no, that ticket, that citation, it is valid, it holds. So it's very rarely enforced because, again, if you're honking your horn, let's say you're driving down a roadway, any roadway in this country, anywhere in the world, you honk your horn. An officer, what are they going to do, pull you over? And say, hey, who are you honking your horn at? It's causing a disturbance. The noise from that horn is disturbing the peace. So now you're talking about other infractions. But how do you know as a driver, you could argue in your own mind, you thought that there was another vehicle that may have been coming your way, or there was someone crossing the road, or there was an animal, and you're honking your horn to avoid or give notice.
Yeah.
There's no way to enforce that. So I don't know the issue behind this lady being ticketed, but I would argue that, honking a horn is also an expression of speech. If I want to go to an event and I see a rock show and it's raining out and they're still playing on stage and I'm in my vehicle, I'm going to honk my horn as loud as possible, just to show support for that great, great performance. But again, it could be a nuisance. You don't want to go around just randomly honking your horn. So there has to be limitations. But the United States Supreme Court has ruled that, that ticket was valid, that lady was causing a disturbance of some sort, which, again, I think it's more of an expression of speech. It's like there's so many gray areas here. It's unbelievable.
I could see if, let's say, a police officer...
It's hard to enforce that.
Yeah, I could see if maybe like at this political rally, a police officer was walking past her car and she laid on the horn for him to move or something. I could see him then going, hey, lady, stop honking your horn. I'm trying to go do something. You're distracting me from breaking up this political rally or keeping the peace or something. That I could see. But now, if you're just...
defense attorney, I would argue that the individual, this is where my mind works as a lawyer, the individual who honked her horn while the officer walked in front of her was trying to get his attention or her attention because they had a question. It wasn't in an annoying fashion. But then again, if there's a police officer who is on duty at a rally or any other event, I would never recommend honking your horn. Number one, they're there to serve the public. They're there to keep you safe and everybody else, and they need to be able to hear over their, walkie-talkies if there's something going on.
Yeah.
Honking a horn just to honk a horn. Again, what is the law? Let's take Michigan for instance. If you're going to honk a horn at an officer to the extent where you're laying on it for no reason other than to annoy the officer, yeah, if it's in a village or a community or a city or a town where there's an ordinance, a nuisance ordinance, you could be given a misdemeanor ticket for creating a nuisance. So that could occur. I've never ever heard that taking place or happening.
No.
I mean, would it surprise me? No. I mean, one of the most satirical situations I've ever come across as an attorney, and by no means do I ever think anyone who contacts my office are their cases humorous, funny, satirical. But it was brought to my attention years ago, about a dozen years ago, Welcome Back weekend, a young student under 21 was consuming alcohol. He was so intoxicated that he literally just, on Welcome Back weekend, where there's thousands of people, he just flopped his head right on the back of a cop car and just fell asleep. I mean, again, you don't want someone like that, someone's son. You don't want that person to get injured or killed because they're that intoxicated. I mean, there's circumstances where people drown and get hit by cars because they're so intoxicated. So an officer does have a right, if there's somebody in public who is intoxicated or a health check is called in, as loved ones, we want that person to be approached and checked. But in this case, this young man just literally flopped on the back of the cop car and was given an MIP. There are so many situations, Craig, where individuals will receive a collect call from a friend in jail who just got arrested for drinking and driving, and the person who receives the call will then get into their vehicle, drive down to the sheriff's department in an attempt to bond that person out, and they themselves are intoxicated and receive a ticket. True story. I've done this a dozen times in my career, 30 years, operating while intoxicated. The best thing to do, folks, is one, don't drink and drive. If you do drink and drive, which you shouldn't, but you look, it's not illegal to drink and drive. You just don't want to drink over the legal limit. My advice is don't drink and drive, period, because a lot of people out there have a certain tolerance to alcohol and liquor. They may think that they're sober when in fact they are not. And then therefore their ability to operate that vehicle is diminished once they get behind the wheel. So we don't have anybody operating a motor vehicle. I can't tell you how many times, over the decades, and still as I represent people, they will say to me, Todd, I thought I was sober. I didn't know I was intoxicated. I waited a couple hours, but yet their blood alcohol content on a data master is 0.18, double the legal limit, you see, or 0.16, which is double the legal limit.
And I know it's different for everybody, but in roundabout layman's terms, how many alcoholic drinks does it take to get to 0.08, which is the legal limit? 2?
It depends.
I know it depends on people.
Yeah, it depends on a multitude of factors.
So, I know everybody's different and everything, but, let's say 1 or 2 drinks. I mean, it doesn't take much. And most people, I don't think, realize that. I think, I get a couple of beers. A couple of beers could put you over the limit without much of a problem, especially if you haven't anything to drink.
Don't even take a chance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You don't know.
Uber and so many drivers. The problem is there's a lot of people, especially ourselves, who live in rural communities. It's chunky monkey there, Craig.
Yeah,
there are no Ubers. There is no public transportation at 2 a.m. in the morning.
And you think you'll be able to drive down the back streets fine or on the back roads fine. Nope. That's when the worst stuff happens. So, nope. My mom always used to say nothing good happens after 2.
Look, when I was younger, did I drink and drive 1,000 times? I'm not a hypocrite. I'm defective. I'm human. I didn't think about it. Once I got into law school, that changed. But as growing up, and when I think about it, I can't believe how often I would, put myself and others at risk.
Well, it was a different time.
Right, but no, it was. I mean, you could still kill somebody back.
Yeah, but it was not as publicized as it is now. How much the bad things
was
and
it?
stuff.
Were we too young to know the difference? I mean, people were still getting killed by drunk driving.
Yeah, it's not an excuse. I'm just saying it was a different time. It just wasn't there wasn't as much publicity given to it as things are now. Now, I mean, you're constantly, don't drink and drive, wear your seatbelt. You know, there's a lot of things that we weren't told 40 years ago that we're now being bombarded with on a regular basis for good reason. But it just wasn't that. It was a different time back then.
Yeah, I've had a lot of cases over the years where two people, like boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, an argument ensues. One of the parties is, there's no violence in what I'm referring to at this time, but one party is so heated that he or she just makes a poor choice, gets behind the wheel, and just speeds away. The other party calls the cops and say, hey, Craig just left my house. He's really intoxicated. He get pulled over for drinking and driving. But the other thing is, if you go to the bar and you consume one or two drinks, what if you're on some type of medication that will also enhance that? There's a lot of medication out there you should not take with alcohol. And a lot of people still do that. So again, you may feel sober, you get behind the wheel, you're putting people at risk. But to come full circle, Craig, originally we were talking, now we have to go to break here shortly, but originally we were talking about honking your horn. A lady was ticketed at a political rally out west for honking her horn. She appealed it, went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Which is crazy.
I mean, really? And I don't know, I got to double check if it was the U.S. Supreme Court or the Supreme Court of the state in which she resides in, but the Supreme Court said no, that's enforceable. Honking a horn serves a very specific purpose. But then again, let's think about what the courts were thinking. If everybody out there would just honk their horn randomly, then nobody would take it serious when somebody really needed to be honked at.
True. Yep.
So I believe, as an attorney, I'm going to take the position that the justices were thinking, and I don't know what people think. It's never for us to guess what someone else is thinking, unless we know exactly, per interpretation, because they wrote something out so we know what they're thinking, or they spoke something and we can hear what they're saying. But my guess is, just from being an attorney, that the justices were looking to keep this very narrow so that honking a horn serves to put notice to somebody that something's about to happen.
Yep,
and I
totally
understand
agree.
that as a citizen who believes in the public being safety, but I think there are other cases where you should be able to honk that horn as loud and proud as you want, Craig. Turn it and burn it and lay on the horn.
And on that happy note, we got to take a break, but we got more law coming up in the next segment of the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Stay here.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt here to tell you about my favorite one and only, the only one I go to, M66 Cannabis Company, recreational dispensary right here in the great state of Michigan, central northern Michigan, located at 3023 20 Mile Road, Beaverton, Michigan, between Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant, Michigan. M66 Cannabis Company is frickin' fantastic, folks, from pipes to edibles to flower, 24 different strains. The staff, all locally hired, general manager, knowledgeable, community-oriented, family-owned. Be sure to check out M66 Cannabis Company, Beaverton, Michigan.
Hey, this is Mike Messina, general manager at M66 Cannabis Company out of Barrington, Michigan, off of M66. And I want to personally invite you down to M66 Cannabis Company to come peruse our wide selection of different products, 18 different strains of flower, 29 different types of cartridges, and so much more. We've got everything that you could possibly need and a very well-trained and compassionate staff there to help you find exactly what you're looking for.
That's M66 Cannabis Company, located at 3023 20 Mile Road. That's 3023 20 Mile Road. My favorite recreational dispensary here in Michigan. Be sure to stop in and tell the folks when you get there you heard it right here on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Why'd you call me on the phone? Your mama can't
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Coming back strong with kicks. Don't close your eyes. We were talking law about the lady in out west who honked her horn in a political rally and got a ticket, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And you were saying, and it's a good point, how you want to make sure that honking horn still has the it doesn't lose its effectiveness.
Purpose.
Yeah, it doesn't lose its
Correct.
effectiveness. If you're going to honk the horn, it's because there's a reason for it. And it's the same thing. There's other things like sirens. You wouldn't want a police car or a fire truck to just run their sirens all the time, or you would never. It would lose its meaning, and you'd go, oh, I guess it's no big deal. They just run them all the time. You're not allowed to put sirens in like radio commercials because it can be confusing. If you're driving and you hear a siren, and all of a sudden you pull over, and you could end up injuring somebody or yourself or get into an accident because you think there's a police car or an ambulance coming, and there's really just on the radio. But that's the thing. You don't want that to lose its effectiveness, its purpose. It's the same kind of deal.
Yeah, that's a great point, though, about the siren. Also, we'll have to ask Attorney Mike Nichols this. For some reason, I believe he would know, and he's coming on the show soon. Sam Gross is coming back on the show also.
Oh, Sam. Good guy, Sam.
Love Sam. Oh, yeah. But I believe in most states, and I know Michigan has laws, and there's a lot of first responders out there. Big shout out to all the first responders, the volunteer firefighters, that put their life on the line and come to our beck and call when we reach out to 911 or some type of central dispatch because we're in need of assistance. And there's so many men and women out there. They deserve our love and respect. But in Michigan, and I'm sure with other states, there are laws that limit who can and cannot have a certain type of light on their vehicle that can flash, such as, an officer, or if you purchase a used police car, or if you are plowing someone's driveway, or you're with the Department of Transportation. I mean, who can and cannot have what type of device affixed to their automobile? And I know that there are limitations, especially if you have lights that go across the front windshield that look as if they're law enforcement. I'm just going to take a shot at it. That is not allowed. There's no way.
No.
There's no way. You cannot impersonate a police officer. That's no. Or
Having
a lawyer.
Having
cannot
worked
impersonate a lawyer.
That
I'm
would
not
be a
even
little
lawyer. I've been faking it for 30 years, Craig. I never went to law school.
I don't believe that.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I don't believe you for a second. I don't believe that. No.
But you know what? Here's the interesting thing. And look, I'm not advising anyone to do this. When you walk into court, nobody says, "Can I see your bar credentials that you're actually an attorney?"
No.
Never. You could put on a suit, a dress, get a briefcase, walk into court, represent somebody. And look, we're just talking. Don't do this anymore.
It's all hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
Yes.
Now, I've been around for 30 years. Yes, I did go to law school. I'm in good standing with the State Bar of Michigan, Attorney Todd L. Levitt. Look it up. I mean, I went to Detroit College of Law. I suffered and graduated in 1992. But with that being said, and most people know who I am because I've been doing this a long time. There's a lot of new attorneys out there. They're from jurisdictions where nobody knows who they are. They don't check your credentials when you walk into the courthouse.
You think they should?
Honestly, no.
I mean, have you run into a case where you've been in court and you've seen someone who obviously is not an attorney pretending to be an attorney and getting caught or getting found out about? I mean, does that ever happen?
Not that I'm sure it happens. Not that I'm aware of, and I'm not telling anybody to do this.
Make a great movie.
It is a misdemeanor.
I'm sure it is.
Not a felony in Michigan. I'll have to look it up. Again, Mike Nichols would know. Why does Mike know everything?
Because he's Mike Nichols.
Because he wrote the book. Mike Nichols is the author of a book that lawyers utilize in their daily practices of law. That's why we keep talking about Mike. Yeah. So let's make a checklist, Craig. I believe it's a misdemeanor in Michigan. Anybody can Google it right now. Right. But, I mean, think about it. You could put on any type of suit. You can be whoever you want. I wouldn't recommend anybody doing this. There are laws to prevent that. And it's very dangerous. If you're not an attorney, you walk into court trying to represent somebody, or you hold yourself out to be an attorney, you take a fee, you get a fee agreement, you walk into court, and somebody goes, somebody loses everything they have. I mean, it's very serious.
Agreed.
Practicing law is, there's, civil rules of procedure, there's rules of evidence. There's so many court rules. There's so many rules and procedures and statutes on how you practice law. It's not a matter of, okay, I'm putting on a suit and tie or a dress, grab a briefcase and go to court. If somebody walks into court it would be quite obvious that they don't know what they're doing unless they studied and paid attention to what lawyers do. And so they copied that.
They'd have to really pay a lot of attention, though.
When I was a young attorney in Oakland County Circuit Court, where I'm from, I would sit there and watch seasoned attorneys, what they say, how they say it, and then I would just, repeat what they said because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, well, that's how you learn, though. It's by repetition and copying and stuff like that. But
I got another question for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have more law, right? Yes.
Social media companies.
Okay.
This is a big topic, way too big for you and I.
Yeah.
So again, the court has taken a look at this. And there's been a lot of discussion all over the place. I mean, social media companies, should their speech and people who post on it be protected by the First Amendment? That's the question.
Well, considering most of these social media companies, if they're not based outside of the United States, they have reach far, far past the United States. That would be a hard one, I think, starters to regulate. But I think, it's their job to police it, but I don't necessarily believe. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me what you think. I'm kind of lost on it.
Well, the First Amendment prohibition on barring speech, I believe, applies to government action. Okay?
Meaning?
I just want to state that.
What does that mean?
Well, what it means is essentially, it's a really broad area, and social media companies are privately owned. Okay, they're privately owned. So
sure.
How much should or does the government interfere, and do you want the government interfering in a private corporation's ability to do business? See, this is the difficult area here, because if you and I start a social media company, do we want should the federal government control? I mean, the federal government does control what we do and what we do not do in regards to regulations. I mean, you talk about fossil fuel. I love gasoline. I love filling up. So, but my point is, there's a lot of regulation, but we're talking about social media where participants are using the spoken word.
Well,
and the spoken word is being affixed onto a platform that's owned by, if it's a publicly traded company, then it's owned by a lot of people. If it's owned by one individual, then it's still a private individual. But these individuals are not government agencies. And so how much should the government suppress what takes place and interfere with these private business owners in regards to what they can and cannot do on their platforms? Again, social media, there's two sides of this. You could argue that there's a lot of voices who are not heard on social media because maybe, the nature of whoever owns these companies have a certain, slant on how they see and feel about things. And so there's a lot of unfairness, and it can be argued both ways.
Well, I'm gonna peel back a couple of layers to this.
Peel back, Craig Russell. Peel back.
Let's talk about how you get this social media. Name a social media site: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. How do you get access to Facebook?
Well, you got to sign up.
Okay, but how do you? What's the even a takeaway back from that? Step back.
I know what you're getting at. I don't know if everybody knows that the United States government can turn a switch off. I'm not talking about. What's that? What everybody thinks that somebody controls all the light in the world. What's that called? I forgot.
Oh, I don't know.
Illuminati.
Oh, okay.
That's a cool thing, though, Illuminati. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But, and I don't know too much about it, to be honest with you. So I don't have a position either way. But the United States government, am I correct, Craig, can just pull a lever and shut the internet down across the world?
I don't think they can do that. I think that would be hard.
No,
I think that would be tough.
Does the United States not control the internet?
Well, the United States doesn't
create it.
They don't control the internet, but the United States
control it. No, but
they regulate it. They regulate the internet. In the United States, they do, because it's through the FCC. The FCC regulates the internet.
I'm not talking about laws. I'm talking about. Look, I'm not a tech guy here. Someone needs to look this up and let us know. We need to bring aboard a tech person.
Okay.
Does the United States not have the ability? I always thought because our technology created it, we provided the servers. Did we not provide the servers and the technology that actually launched the World Wide Web? How's that for an ancient term?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we might have at one time, but I don't think we do anymore. We might control it for the United States, but I'm pretty sure the internet that's where .ca in Canada comes in or .nz in New Zealand comes in because those countries regulate their own internet. But I'm saying in general, the FCC regulates the internet in this country. And the FCC is a federal, much the same way Prohibition regulates cannabis is not in Schedule 1, but in Schedule 3. It's still kind of that same kind of deal where I think if the government regulates the internet and that's how you get onto Facebook, then there might be some kind of a situation with that.
I'm calling Big Hair.
You're calling somebody.
I'm calling Big Hair.
All right.
Come on, Big Hair. He's an IT guy.
Yes, he is.
We need to find out.
And it was Big Hair's birthday a couple days ago.
It was. Happy birthday, Big Hair.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on, Big Hair.
Come on, Big
Come
Hair.
on.
Come on.
Has been forwarded to voicemail.
Oh, man.
Come
Big
on.
Hair.
At the tone, please record.
I'm not recording any message. You know what really, I don't understand if you're texting somebody, and all of a sudden you call, and then they're not there when you call them.
It's Sunday morning. He could be in church. You never know. Don't know.
All right, we're gonna try one more guy.
Okay, another person.
All right,
Here we go. Who we calling now?
Chucky Martinez.
Okay,
one of my guys. We always talk about Chucky Martinez from Ohio.
Yeah. All right.
He's so smart. So is his wife Sarah.
Third ring.
On, Chuck.
That's like
Chuck.
What's up?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad.
How's the great state of Ohio?
It's Ohio.
Hey, that's Ohio.
Best way to put it.
60 the other day, and then by 3 o'clock it was in the teens. So
yeah, I hear you. Go Blue, baby. Hey, Chuck, I'm on with Craig Russell on the Todd 11 Law Show, and we thought we'd give you a call because we have a question for you.
What's that?
So we're talking about the internet and the government, the United States government, trying to, whether or not they should be able to suppress the speech on these Facebook platforms and whatnot, or should social media be considered First Amendment? Therefore, there's no regulation, there's no suppression by the people that own these sites. But then we were talking about the internet itself and how the United States, the technology, at least I thought, started here in this country in the 40s and 50s, and that the United States, I thought, I'm not a tech guy, could just pull a switch and shut the whole World Wide Web down. And you're a smart guy, so I'm phoning a friend, and you're one of my best friends.
I'm the phone a friend.
Yeah. So what do you know anything about that?
I mean, I guess everybody has an interpretation of, the First Amendment, right?
No, but what about the ability for our government to just shut down the whole internet?
I don't think that should not.
Okay,
should not be fair.
Okay, you agree with Craig. He agrees with you.
Thanks, Chuck.
He said, "Thanks, Chuck." Okay. Hey, by the way, Chuck and I bike together. He shreds the gnar, and much love to Chuck. Chuck, we love you, buddy.
We love you too.
Hey, you're on the Todd 11 Law Show. I mean, I keep talking about myself in third person. I've been wanting to get you on for a long time.
I'm here, baby.
You know what? Hey, Craig, every single Michigan game, Chuck and I FaceTime, literally.
And they don't know that we were the ones that won that championship.
We did.
Yeah.
When Michigan single-handedly, Craig.
Yeah, I know.
You know the story.
I know what it's all about.
Yeah. All right, Chuck. Hey, much love to you, buddy. I'll keep searching for answers. Big Hair didn't answer either, but happy you answered, and I'll shout at you later.
All right, bud.
All right, man. Much love to you and Sarah. Bye. See ya.
Chucky Martinez.
Chuck Martinez is one of my best friends from Ohio. Does not know the answer.
And obviously a very smart guy. Very smart guy. He said the government can't just shut down the internet.
Okay, I'm going to go with we could shut it down.
I think maybe at one time we could have, but I don't think we can anymore.
Nope. I don't know how, but I know somebody out there agrees with me. Maybe Sparky agrees with me.
Well, we'll find out.
All right.
Hey, we got
a break.
Yeah, we got to take a break.
Running long.
Yep, we will wrap up the show after this.
Come on, Craig. This is attorney Todd L. Levitt here to tell you about my favorite one and only, the only one I go to, M66 Cannabis Company, recreational dispensary right here in the great state of Michigan, central northern Michigan, located at 3023 20 Mile Road, Beaverton, Michigan, between Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant, Michigan. M66 Cannabis Company is frickin' fantastic, folks, from pipes to edibles to flower, 24 different strains. The staff, all locally hired, general manager, knowledgeable, community-oriented, family-owned. Be sure to check out M66 Cannabis Company, Beaverton, Michigan.
Hey, this is Mike Messina, general manager at M66 Cannabis Company out of Barrington, Michigan, off of M66. And I want to personally invite you down to M66 Cannabis Company to come peruse our wide selection of different products, 18 different strains of flower, 29 different types of cartridges, and so much more. We've got everything that you could possibly need and a very well-trained and compassionate staff there to help you find exactly what you're looking for.
That's M66 Cannabis Company, located at 3023 20 Mile Road. That's 3023 20 Mile Road. My favorite recreational dispensary here in Michigan. Be sure to stop in and tell the folks when you get there you heard it right here on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Why'd you call me on the phone? Your mama can't solve your problem. When daddy ever get home? So you did your little blues and cry. In the middle of a suicide.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, turning it and burning it, smoking it and toking it with Chunky Monkey. Craig, I'm going to, and you and I have been sitting together. You can see me, right?
Yep.
We didn't do any research or anything, but we've been talking about this internet, how, the technology, I thought, maybe I'm wrong, started in the 40s, 50s to create the concept behind this, what we call the internet today. I feel that, starting to think about it and talking with you during a break, that it's like a river. You may be able to shut down, one
Parts
server,
of it.
two servers,
Yep.
but it's like there's too many things out there around the world with all the satellites. It's just going to keep flowing. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a tech guy, but I agree. I don't think you can shut it down. I don't think anybody could shut it down.
Maybe at one time they could. Maybe at one time when it was in its
maybe at one
infancy.
time.
But it's
like
so
a river.
big now.
It's
Yeah.
just too big, too many servers, too many satellites, too many connections, wires, fiber optics. So, Craig, we've been talking, as far as social media, what do I think? People may wonder, maybe they don't even care. Do I think the government should interfere in social media? I mean, yes and no. I'll just say yes and no. This is too big of a question, too much to analyze. I think since the advent of social media, it's definitely, I'm just glad that we didn't have social media when I was growing up.
Agreed.
Because I think we are who we are based on how we grew up. And I guess everybody could say that, because if you grew up in this generation, you wouldn't know anything different. So you can't compare it to anything else. And, people 200 years ago didn't have what we have.
Yeah.
But I just don't like the fact it's here to stay. AI's here. Things are different. I'm 60. I'm glad I'm not, 16.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to live in the era in which we live. Let me just leave it at that. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad about social media. A lot of good and a lot of bad. The good is that you could join groups, mountain bike groups. By the way, I've been shredding the dragon. Love the dragon. all the single tracks were open and dry and cleared out. But
Yeah,
Craig,
you
there's
can-
a lot of good things about the internet,
Yeah.
a lot of bad things.
Yep, you can meet a lot of people from all over the country and all over the world who you would never have known, and there's all kinds of groups that you can find interests in and stuff. But yet, on the other hand, that also means you have contact with a bunch of people from all over the world who you might not want to have contact with, or who don't have the same social skills that you have. And next thing you know, you're yelling and screaming at people about politics on the internet, and that's never good. So,
yeah,
never.
But there's, you could see pictures of your kids, your grandkids, your friends. I mean, there's a lot of great things about the internet. There's a lot of bad things about the internet. I'm
Think
never
about
going to attempt. What's that?
I was going to think about it. Our kids don't know a world that doesn't have the internet.
I'm not about to ever make recommendations on how to regulate the internet. So I'm just going to stay out of that conversation.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about the honking the horn and chunky monkey. So, but I mean, it makes sense. At one time, you're correct. The government, if you do the research, I mean, am I correct that the technology was developed by the military in
Yes.
the 40s and 50s that led to the internet?
Yep.
So maybe that's what I was thinking about in the beginning.
That's possible.
I just don't, knowing about servers and some of the hardware behind how it works around the world, maybe one country can affect how their users, like you said, by taking out a satellite or shutting some type of system down so that nobody has Wi-Fi or good service.
I mean, in other countries, they can definitely control what people see on the internet, but not in every country. And it would be hard to shut the whole thing down. That's
well, if
all
you have
I
a
was
phone and the country in which you live in takes out the capability to connect to a satellite, cellular or some type of Wi-Fi service, then that country or that entity can control what you see or not see. But how often are you in a vehicle or a location and you want to log on to the local Wi-Fi?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, that happens a lot. Yeah.
Hey, Craig, after the show, by the way, I'm going to drive home and I'm going to honk my horn as loud as possible and see if anything happens.
Oh, and
But don't you get peed off? If someone's honking a horn at you, it's either they're peed off about something you may have done in your vehicle, or they're trying to warn you about something. So you could interpret that two different ways.
I'll be right behind you, ready to bail you out of jail.
I mean, how many times has someone honked at you and you're thinking, what are you honking
at me for? Yeah, what are you honking at me
for? I'm not the one that just cut you off. They cut you off.
Yeah. I'll be right behind you, ready to bail you out of jail.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Todd, I hate to tell you this, but the show's over. We got to go, man. Oh, we got to go.
No.
It's all done.
I don't care. You know what, Craig? If I had my horn here, I'd be honking it loud and proud, smoking it and toking it with some chunky monkey, by the way, the strain of the week.
I'm like the internet in China. I'm shutting you down. There you go.
Why, they have internet in China, don't they?
They have the internet in China, yes. They do.
Oh, man. All right, Craig. Hey, what a great show. Happy birthday to my sister.
Yes.
And this show is dedicated to the memory of your dear father, Mr. Russell. He was a great man. I'm happy I had an opportunity to get to know you and get to know a little bit about him through you. Much love there, Craig. And
thank you.
You will always be part of my family, and I have a large family, and we love you, Craig.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Todd.
To all our sponsors out there, thank you. We're not just the litigators. We're advocators. We're not here for a long time. What are we here for, Craig?
We're here for a good time, Todd.
Take us out with my hoarse voice.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Clark Modular Homes of Mount Pleasant, Rusty Gold Antiques in Everett, Chad Malley Well Drilling of Rosebush, Clear Vision Windows, Siding and Roofing of Midland, and attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.